318,064. We also disappointingly recorded about 37,393 spoiled votes. A total votes cast in this province was 4,355,457. Gauteng registered the highest voter turnout in the country, which is sitting at 69%. As you know, Gauteng has about 6,381,000 registered voters. Before I get to the main results, I wish to thank all our stakeholders who made these elections peaceful. I wish to thank the role that was played by the political parties. I'm grateful for your cooperation, your guidance and support. I also wish to extend a warm appreciation to all the staff of the Electoral Commission in the province of Gauteng. I also wish to acknowledge the important role that has been played by the law enforcement agency in this province. Without the support of the police, these elections will not have been a success. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me pleasure to announce the 5 top political parties in this province. You'll know that this province, the provincial legislature of Gauteng, has 73 seats. As I've said, these are preliminary results. Seat allocation will be finalized when all the results have been collated. I'll start from the political party that is number 5, ACDP. ACDP received about 30,604 votes, which signifies 0.71%. And it is followed by the IFP, which got about 38,231 votes, and it gives a percentage of 0.89. The Economic Freedom Fund Fighters received 633,849 votes, and the percentage point that they've received is 14.68%. And it's followed by the Democratic Alliance, which garnered 1,185,580 votes, which gives us a percentage of 27.4%. The African National Congress received 2,167,116, which signifies about 50.19%. These are the results of the provincial legislature in Gauteng. We have printed, as you know, that this province was contested by 36 political parties, and the team is readily available with the detailed reports for the rest of the political parties. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your patience, because we had to painstakingly ensure that we don't release inaccurate results. We thank you for your patience and your understanding. Thank you. Sharp.
Go. All right, that's the election centre in Johannesburg in Auckland Park. Where, of course, we were getting those results for Gauteng. Joining me now is Mary Harris, political analyst and director at Ipsos. And, of course, a lot of people know you for predictions, but you've said to me, it's actually not predictions, it's more possibilities. Just tell us more about that correction, because a lot of people say Ipsos predictions.
Well, actually, when we do a study, it is true for the time when the study is done. So if we did a study on the 8th of May, obviously the results will look slightly different. We did this particular study, the last one before the elections. We did face-to-face interviews from the 22nd of March to the 17th of April. So it's true for that time. And then we have, obviously, you look at the results, you look at what's happening, you look at what's going on in the country, and things change. And you take the best step you have. And we can talk a little bit about how we get there.
Yeah, I actually want to, I'd like to talk a lot about the FF Plus, because it's really an interesting one. And the fact that it seems Ipsos did actually pick up that this might have gone this way, because I think a lot of people might have been a little bit surprised as to how those results came out. But just... I'd really like to get into how these surveys are conducted and how you do your calculations. There was, some concern, about how you would reach the deep rural areas, and are you actually getting an accurate assessment of really what's going on and the trends of how people are voting, and if they are changing the patterns with which they vote. So how do you really do your sort of surveys and calculations?
Obviously, we have a formal questionnaire that's translated into different South African languages. We believe it's very important to interview people in their home language, because then they're just more free to say what they want. Right. Then to do this, the sample is actually quite a process, and I will try and give it to you in a few sentences. We do area stratified probability sampling. Now, that's a whole mouthful, but it basically means that we look at the country as a whole, all 9 provinces, assign interviews to the 9 provinces, and then within the province we look at different settlement patterns. In what I mean by that, some metro areas, cities, large towns, small towns, villages, and rural. If we look, for instance, say, let's take Limpopo province. There's no metro area in Limpopo, but Polokwane is a city. So we look at that. Then we look at the smaller towns, Makopane, Modimolle, Palaburwa, whatever, and we assign interviews to that, and then also to the rural areas. And a very, very important thing is that we do face-to-face interviews. We go into people's homes. The interviewers have a starting point where they start working from. In a household, they will list all the adults in the household and choose one randomly. So this interviewer that works in, say, a village somewhere, does have no control over the person they interview, which is a good thing, because he cannot choose somebody that he likes or is friendly or is pretty or whatever. He has to interview whatever his instructions tell him. And that is how we get a representative sample. It is a little bit like a cup of coffee. And the sample is like a sip out of the cup of coffee. It tastes the same as the cup of coffee. Right. So that's how a sample works. And then obviously we get all the results together. It takes, well, about a month in field, as I said to you, from the 22nd of March to the 17th of April. It's a lengthy process, because you have to go back 3 times if you don't get your original person that you selected. So it is not just for standing somewhere on a corner and ask people how they will vote. Right. And I think that is the strength of Ipsos, that we actually do these studies in the homes of respondents face to face and really get to the bottom of what they think and feel. We also give them a paper that looks a little bit like a ballot paper on which they mark their choices. So it imitates a secret ballot, and people feel free to answer.
I'd like the team just to put up the graphics here of what the Gauteng legislature results look like. You'll see this. There we go. Gauteng legislature. The ANC sitting at 37 seats with 50.7. The DA, I'm actually going to ask you just to look at what you at Ipsos had put there, so we can just sort of gauge where you were. The DA sitting at 20 seats, 27.4%. The EFF, 11 seats, 15.1% there. And then you've got the FF Plus coming coming in at 3 seats, 4.2% of the votes, and the IFP is 1 seat, 1.3%, and then the others combined 1 seat, 1.3%. So let me then ask you, if you can just refer to your notes there from Ipsos, what were your possibilities in comparison to what we have there as the sort of final score?
Yeah, we did not publish provincial results, but we did publish opinions about the provinces, so we can have a look at that. So first of all, the first thing I said about the Gauteng was the ANC draws support from all over the country, but especially from Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. So that's true.
Correct,
but what's very interesting is that the last few years, the ANC strong point has always been KZN. The last few years it has moved to Gauteng. They draw more support from Gauteng than they did from KZN. The DA draws more support from Gauteng than they did from the Western Cape. And the EFF also draws most support from Gauteng. We can see how high the contestation was. I said that the ANC is like the ruling party, should also achieve a majority of the votes in KwaZulu-Natal, the Eastern Cape, and the heavily contested Gauteng. A lot of people disagreed with us. They said the ANC will never take Gauteng if they looked at the 2016 election results. And actually, you know, there's two important things. You can't only work on past results when you want to look at future results. You need to take a gauge of the temperature on the ground. And I think this is what happened. It shifted from 2016. And if we look at the overall results, it's clear that things shifted from 2016. So I am, on the one side, very, very happy.
Yes, you got it. I actually want to have more discussions from party to party, because for me there were some interesting points and for me some surprises. I see you're not very surprised. So we will continue with our conversation, but we're going to cross live then to Nozintombi Mia, who's of course at the Johannesburg Election Centre here in Auckland Park. And I did see at some point with the ANC in celebrations. What's happening now, Nozintombi?
Yes, Flo, the announcement, the official announcement of the Gauteng results, the Gauteng province results have been made. And just to give you a quick recap, 6.3 million voters were registered to vote. However, 4.3 million voters cast their vote on the 8th of May within the 2,700 voting districts. And just to recap again quickly the numbers, the ANC coming in the lead with 50.19% of the votes, the DA at 27.4% of the votes, garnering 14.68% of the votes. And the top three political parties in the Gauteng province. Just to get a quick reaction from some of the political parties. Lebogang, thanks for joining me again. You garnered 50.19% of the vote. What is your reaction?
We are humbled and we are also happy. We want to take this opportunity to thank the people of Gauteng for continuing to demonstrate confidence in our ability to lead as the African National Congress. And we promise them that we will continue with the good work that we have been doing since 1994.
Again, the persistent issues, you know, which are the districts or which are the particular metros in the three big metros in the province that you'll be keeping a very close eye on?
Well, I hope our opponents who are running the other two metros, the DA, will cooperate with the provincial government, because one of the things is that in the last term they have not been cooperating with us, and they were operating like they're in an island. So we are not going to tolerate that, because we want to work towards bettering the lives of our people. And we are saying today we send an olive branch to them to work with us where they govern. We will work with them in the province for the betterment of our citizens.
Lebogang Maila from the ANC extending an olive branch to the DA. You've garnered 27.4% of the votes. What are your thoughts to this?
Obvious, it's not what we thought, but that's the results which we have. We have to use what we have to serve the residents in this province. But we're looking forward to increase more seats going forward. That is what we are committing ourselves to do. Because the more numbers you have, the better you serve more people. And even the pace and the speed, it becomes quicker on the basis that we've got more numbers. Because when you are few and there are more people referring a lot of issues to you, it becomes more difficult for you to react quicker. But yeah, we're really happy for the voters who gave us this mandate, and we will honor them.
The numbers seem to have dropped for the DA. What are your thoughts about this? What do you think really caused the decrease in the numbers for the province?
I think it's just a challenge that you need to do more. Obvious, when you look at the number of voters who voted and the number of registered voters who didn't vote, that tells you that almost 2 million registered voters didn't vote. It's a challenge for us to say, how do we reach this, registered voters? And over and above that, we also have about 3 million unregistered voters in this province. So you've got about 5 million, residents in this province who didn't participate in this election. So it's just a challenge for us to say, let's go and engage and talk so that they participate in our democracy, because their participation actually promote the democracy which we need to always promote and defend.
The ANC has extended an olive branch. It's been quite difficult since 2014 in local government with tensions between the ANC and the DA. How do you think that this olive branch that's been extended to you will factor towards making sure that the citizens of Gauteng get effective service delivery from both the DA and the ANC?
Prepared to work with the ANC when it providing quality services to our people. We also got frustrated. Emin Mashaba has been trying to extend his hand to MEC for local government, who has been playing his games, and we hope that now they are going to change probably and have a new MEC who understand that we need to prioritize needs of our communities. And also, Emin Mashaba has been fighting corruption left and right, and we're saying don't protect people who are implicated. Allow the due processes to take place, because we talk about the rule of law. So if that is what ANC is prepared, we are going to work with them, because at the end, it's all about serving our residents and making sure that they get the best quality services.
Going back to the drawing board, key issues came out that the electorate has highlighted: the issue of transformation within the political party, the issue of the DA being harder on some of the issues that have come out in the province. What is your strategy going forward in terms of recouping the numbers that have been lost and also rebuilding yourself as a brand?
As indicated, that we are committing ourselves to build one South Africa for all, and this is the commitment based on certain values, and this is the value of freedom, fairness, opportunity, and diversity. So anyone who subscribes to those values, we are going to welcome them going forward, because that is what we want to do. We want to build a successful country, and how you build it is when you engage a lot of people from different backgrounds, as long as we have got an understanding of what needs to be done. So we are going to do an introspection, why we lost what we lost, why we didn't gain where we're supposed to have gained, and preparing ourselves for the next local government elections. So it's always readiness. Is one elections, after that you join a course for another election. So we are committed, and we are going to sit down and make sure that we reprioritize and reposition ourselves for the next local government elections.
All right, thank you so much, Flo. There you hear it. We've heard reaction from the ANC. We've heard reaction from the DA, the two biggest winners of the province of Gauteng, and the ANC saying they're going to extend an olive branch to the DA so that there can be effective service delivery for the citizens of Gauteng who've cast their vote and made their concerns very clear to the political parties. We'll be giving you more coverage of some of the smaller political parties as and when they do make their way back to the floor here at the provincial centre in Gauteng. Flo?
Right, thank you very much. Nozinto will be coming to us from the Johannesburg IEC Centre here in Auckland Park. Interesting that the DA representative there saying that, the results are not what they thought they would be. And I am still sitting with Mary Harris. We'll continue to talk and get some political analysis and what Ipsos had predicted would happen. And of course, the DA can't be too happy with the fact that they dropped in the Gauteng province. So we'll chat more about that in a short while. But for now, though,